Hi, everyone, and welcome to the As I Amber podcast. I'm Amber, and I love to talk about music, travel, society, and pop culture. On today's episode, I want to give you all some suggestions and some tips on traveling. Invest in yourself by getting a passport. So, as you may or may not know, I love to travel and go places even prior to the pandemic. I think it's important to utilize wisdom and precautions and read the fine print and understand that every culture, custom, government, state, city, ordinance is different. So one place may require for you to be fully vaccinated. Another place may require you to upload a COVID-19 test within 48 hours of your trip. Read the fine print and also get insurance on your trip. You never know when something's going to get canceled, if you could get hurt when you're away doing an activity, things of that nature. So utilize wisdom in that regard. So now that we've gotten that out the way, I want to give you all some tips on where to go to learn how to travel affordable. There's different websites like Skyscanner, Hopper, Airbnb, different lodging and flight information that you can pretty much Google on your own without having to go through an expensive travel agency. I would suggest if you're a college student, ask your department about study abroad opportunities. I know when I was a student at Fort Valley State University, I traveled for free to Italy, all because of a scholarship program that I had applied for. And I went to Italy and I went to the various Italian cities like Rome, Pisa, Venice, Milan, Rome, Capri. It was a beautiful, lovely experience. And you can listen to more about that later. But in the meantime, traveling opens your eyes to different things. And one of the things I tell everyone is to have an open heart and have an open mind. The culture and customs are different everywhere. You might be required to cover your hair or cover your body a certain way if you go into a temple. Or you might, there are customs and rules that we as Westerners are not always accustomed to. So I would suggest Googling and asking people, hey, have you ever been to wherever, or Google, how are people who look like this treated in London or Egypt, or it's various experiences. And one thing about travel is I highly recommend people go to a place for themselves to experience it. But also, I highly recommend also, if you may not feel the need or the urge to travel, to look at the Travel Channel. Google various travel programs or travel programs. Like there was a show called No Reservations, that's the name of it, with Anthony Bourdain. He passed away a few years ago. There was pretty much a show where this guy, he would interview people, the culture, eat the food, learn the language, the customs, wherever he was going. And he didn't stay at the resort the whole time, or you don't want to get on an 8-hour flight just to stay in a hotel room and eat McDonald's. I mean, that's your prerogative, but you want to see the sights and do the activities. And if you're in Paris, you want to eat macaroons and the bakery and just try different things. Don't be afraid to experiment or try different things, because you might like it, or you just may say that's not for me, but at least you had the exposure and opportunity to do so. Speaking of exposure and opportunities, I went to London and Paris a few years ago by going through EF Ultimate Break. So you can Google their website. They specialize in travel for millennial and Gen Z, but even if you don't fall into that category, they still have different programs for students. Even if you're not a student, you're an older adult, or however old you are, regardless of your age, they have something for you. And they break it down into payment plans. So let's say your trip might have been $1,000. I'm just using this as an example. And in January, you put a down payment down and you started paying $100 a month up until your trip time. And they take care of everything for you. So when I went to London, I knew they spoke English, but when I went to Paris, I was like, I don't speak French. I don't know the language. I don't know what I'm going to do. But guess what? The money that I was spending on going to the EF Ultimate Break program, they have a translator, they have a tour guide, they book everything for you. All you have to worry about was maybe souvenirs, food, and different excursions if you desire. But they pretty much took care of your flight and your ground transportation and things of that nature. So it was a really great program, and you meet people from across the United States. I still keep in contact with the girls that I met there when I went to Greece. Shout out to Adrienne and Darlene. We still text one another, keep in touch. But I think it's a beautiful thing to travel and meet different people. Even if you feel like, I want to go somewhere, but I don't have any friends who can go or want to go or can afford to go, sometimes you got to go by yourself and just use precautions. Like, don't go on social media telling everybody, I'm here alone by myself so I can get robbed or killed. Like, no, you want to operate in wisdom. So if you go somewhere, try to post your pictures after you have left the event or after you have left the country or the city, because there's some sinister people out here. I don't know if you watch Dateline and all those different documentary programs, but just be cautious, One thing about traveling that I think is important is to make sure you call your bank and, tell them that, hey, I'm going to be out of the country or I'm going to be out of the state or out of town for a couple of days. And I want you all to keep a monitor of my account, whether you need to order money because currency is different. It might be cheaper to go through your bank and order the money that is in that country. So if you're going to Japan, you might need yen. If you go to France, you might need euros. You can go to London, you need pounds, or just bring another credit card or anything of that nature to put on there. So outside of checking with your bank, you also want to check the laws and the rules, because just like what you can do in California, you may not be able to do in Georgia. Same thing applies abroad. I know sometimes people have a vacation or they turn up, have a good time, but not realize that may be illegal in that state or that may be illegal in that country, and you don't want to be locked up abroad. So make sure you know the rules and the customs wherever you're going. Also know where the United States Embassy is, so just in case the war wants to pop off, you know where you're going, what's going on, especially overseas right now. Another thing that I would say about traveling abroad is sometimes you have to go off season. Let's say someplace is really touristy and crowded in the summertime, try going in the fall or the winter. You might save money and, have more space and time to do activities. Another thing that I would say is call your cell phone company and tell them you're traveling abroad, regardless if you have Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile. Sometimes they have plans and programs so you're not data roaming and using up your credit minutes and your bill is super high. So check that out before you go abroad, because that bill is super high if you don't talk to them about, hey, I'm going out of state or I'm going out of country. So that's important to do. One thing about it is when I travel, sometimes I have Tsa Pre-Checks. So what is that? For $85 for up to 5 years, you get to go faster in the security line or cut everybody at the airport. So it's a good tool to have if you travel frequently. Also, outside of that, I would say when it comes to entertainment and going to concerts, you might want to sign up for the artist fan club. Like Beyonce has Beehive. So when she has a tour or a concert, her fans get first dibs on concert tickets. Or if you go through a certain credit card or bank, sometimes you get points for traveling or going to concerts, and that helps you, get flight miles. So think about those things. I really appreciate you all for listening to me. Don't forget to check out the asiamber.com website and leave a beautiful review, like, comment, share, subscribe. If you have any more questions, you know where to find me on Twitter and Instagram at asiamber. Thank you so much for listening. Good night or good morning. Bye.